like a good man-sized traffic jam to make a man long for the wide open spaces. For outdoor recreation, how much room do you need? Is 1,000,000 acres big enough for you? You come with me. I know just the place. Just a few miles west of Florida's glittering Gold Coast, primary flood control function. The district believes they should provide a wilderness that is easily accessible to the expanding population of South Florida and the millions who visit the state each year. Today, the FCD works with other state and federal agencies, conservation and sportsmen's groups, and private enterprise to make the entire district a place people can enjoy. Lodges are located to give sportsmen easy access to the water storage areas for boating, hunting, and fishing. Long-range plans call for the recreation program that began in the Everglades to be extended throughout the entire area served by the district. How do you move about in the Everglades? Well, the most popular way, airboats. There are more airboaters enjoying the waters within the district than in all the rest of the world put together. The airboat is a strange invention, part boat and part airplane. It's at its best skimming along on the top of the grassy water at the place where water and air meet. The motor is usually an aircraft motor. The propeller it turns is an aircraft propeller. According to Everglades lore, the airboat was invented in Palm Beach County in the early 1920s by frog hunters. The airboat can take you deep into the glades, and it can get you there in a hurry. Airboats can zoom along at 65 miles an hour. Faster than that, most of them run the risk of becoming airborne. The hunter makes good use of the airboat. Deer hunters in the glades usually work in teams, carefully encircling hammocks where deer may be hiding. An important part of any team is the Everglades deer hound. In the winter, duck hunting is popular in many areas within the district. The Everglades after dark is an ominous place. Few venture out into the dark of night except experienced frog giggers. The trick is to spot the frog in the darkness, freeze him to the spot with a beam of light, then gig him while zooming past in an airboat. Fried frog legs. There's no finer delicacy in the Everglades. Fishermen are early risers everywhere. These have invaded the river of grass to seek out the king of Florida's fresh waters, the largemouth bass. And fishermen know the district's water storage area is bass country. He's a fighter, a real game fish. Taken from clear, clean water and fried, largemouth bass make good eating. Now let's go to Lake Okeechobee, the big lake just north of the Everglades. It's early morning on the lake, and there are fish just waiting to be caught. Today we're going after speckled perch, better known as specks. A good place to fish for specks is in the protected waters along the shores of the lake. They come from all over the country to fish here. Let's see what you got there. Some specks will weigh as much as 3 pounds, but the average is only about a half a pound. They're panfish, and they're tasty. In speck fishing, the action is fast. The limit is 35 a day, and plenty of fishermen go home early because they've reached the limit. In the winter, the annual Shad Derby draws thousands of anglers to the area just west of Cape Kennedy. The Upper St. Johns River is another FCD waterway that affords excellent fishing. The shad is known as a fish that keeps bankers' hours. He isn't a daybreak feeder. He waits for 9 o'clock to strike. But when he strikes hard. The shad is a real game fish, a battler who's hard to bring in. Fishing is good in water-controlled structures, particularly when fresh water is being discharged into tidewater rivers and canals. Saltwater fish move up to the structures looking for bait fish. Fishermen move up to look for good fishing. Sometimes there seems to be just no limit to the good fishing grounds in the flood control district. Early morning is a peaceful time at a campground. Millions of people are finding out for themselves the joys of camping. One of the finest camping areas in the district is maintained by the town of Everglades. The campground is on an island owned by the Flood Control District, Torrey Island in Lake Okeechobee. There's no shortage of fishing styles around here. One advantage of camping by the water is that the fish you catch is no distance at all from the frying pan. Improved camping facilities, indeed improved recreational facilities of all kinds, have resulted from the dedication of local recreation committees who work with the Flood Control District to make the best possible use of the land and the water. As you might expect, recreation committee members make their monthly meetings an occasion for a real Florida barbecue. You'll find plenty of places for recreation along the Tamiami Trail, a highway that crosses the state through the heart of the Everglades. Tamiami, Tampa to Miami. Most of the places are run by Indians, members of the Miccosukee tribe. Enthusiastic boatmen take good advantage of the waterways and lakes within the district. Let's take a trip up the Kissimmee River, one of the area's most interesting streams for cruising. The Kissimmee, which flows south, is the principal river system draining into Lake Okeechobee. Water control structures and locks are being built along the meandering river to create a waterway for control of the vast quantities of water draining into the watershed. The Kissimmee's many picturesque oxbows provide excellent spots for fishing. These oxbows are being preserved under the flood control plan. The river flows through some of the finest cattle country in Florida. Boatmen say that one of the hazards of cruising here is the possibility that the hull of your boat might be gored by a bull standing in the Kissimmee. In the 19th century, steamboats plied this river, wending their way through the stream's oxbows. They could travel from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up to the town of Kissimmee. The river winds through a chain of lakes. Lake Kissimmee first, then two smaller lakes. Finally, Lake Tohopekalaga. One of the highlights of the Florida boating season is the annual Kissimmee River Boatacade, which cruises from here in the town of Kissimmee down to Lake Okeechobee and back. Another big boatacade is the annual Okeechobee Waterway Cross-State Cruise, always a festive event. Let's follow an Okeechobee Waterway cruise from the town of Jensen Beach on Florida's east coast to Fort Myers on the Gulf of Mexico. "155 miles long, the Okeechobee Waterway is a vital part of the Flood Control District's water management program. Through the waterway, excess water can be released quickly to the sea to prevent flooding if a hurricane should strike. The Flood Control District's seaplane flies safety patrol for the boatacade. Radio contact is maintained with the official boat of the Okeechobee Waterway Association. Early afternoon of the first day, the boats begin their swing into the big lake, Lake Okeechobee. The pacing of the cruise is not leisurely. Some of the boats move along at speeds up to 35 knots. The final leg of the cruise is through the waters of the Caloosahatchee River. The Caloosas, who gave their name to the river, are a vanished Indian tribe who were living in Florida when the Spaniards first arrived here in the 16th century. Journey's End, on the west coast of Florida. Just to get away from it all. This is a need everyone has sometime. Within its boundaries and its flowing waterways, the Flood Control District will continue to encourage the creation of recreational outlets for all. For those who like the excitement of the outdoor sports, and for those who like to relax by just communing with nature.